Can't wait until the silly season is over with so that we can start getting educated about what's going on. The system. There's a reason that they don't prefer us, people of color. There's a saying that's been around for millennia, I'm sure, and it goes something like this: black, get back; brown, get down; yellow, mellow; white is right. That's a sad state of affairs, isn't it? So I made a video a little ways back, and I said that we were going to talk about white genetic survival, white genetic annihilation. At least that's how they feel. So folks like to refer to the Bible. As a preface, I'll come on here and say as a disclaimer, full disclosure, I would never call myself a religious person. Never. Even when I was little and was going to church. But I would consider myself spiritual, operating from the soul premise, simply because of my knowledge base. I'm a scientist. So with that as a foundation, folks can refer back to the Bible and do all the time, like these folks have taken over Christianity and made it their own. They have been indoctrinated that they don't know that, but everybody else that's educated out here knows that there were no white people running around during biblical times. Not in the Middle East. So how could a small group of people, which I've made other videos about, that they represent under 1% of the entire population of peoples on earth, white folk, how can that group of people have hoodwinked an entire planet for thousands of years? A couple thousand, not a lot, a couple thousand. We're going to get into that, but we're going to wait for the silly season to get over with, like I said, so that we can dive deep. And the followers that I have are of all. I've scanned them. I've looked at all my followers, and they are all walks of life. And that's good. That's what I want. I want to educate people of all peoples. Doesn't matter what your race is, because we're human beings. But it's important that the white folk, because they don't know either. They're in the system also. They're part of the system. System can't work without them. And not wanting to understand, they're in the system and they don't believe that they're part of the system, but they are. I had to say it like I had to come up with a way to say that to make it clear. So people refer to the Bible, groups of people refer to the Bible. Okay, that's fine. The Bible is a book. It's literature. It's a story. It's historic. But I only use that as an allegory. Okay, the stories in there are allegories. Allegory, if you don't know, look it up. I look at a definition. I made it in another video. You check out the definition over there. Then what I like to do is refer to, I'm a scientist, so I like to refer to literature or things that were published, because there's a method, the scientific method. That's how we can come forward and say, this is what it is. We can predict this because we've done this and we've seen this and we've done samples of this and we've taken aggregate groups of this and we over time, and then we have actual data that represents when we can say this is a fact. That's how science works, scientific method. Where in the Bible, it's all on faith, because it's stories that happened a long time ago. I don't know whether you guys have ever done this. When I was in university, when I was at school, I'm pointing over there because my campus is a little bit over that way, College Park, Maryland. And in one of my English literature classes, we had an experiment. So it wasn't a big class. So you know how some classes at school are not big. Some of them take up a whole lecture hall. So this class, it was just a room, and it was, I'd say, about 20 of us, 20 students. And what it was an English writing class. I took the class so that it would help me once I graduated to be able to write technical papers properly and be able to articulate myself better than that I was able to do at that time. And now, obviously. So the teacher got up and said, the professor said, okay, I've got a little small story that I'm going to tell, okay? And I'm going to tell, we all sat in a big semicircle, right? And I'm going to tell the story to the first person here, and then that person, now I've got it written down. I've got the story written down. So the person here The first person is going to tell the second person, say all the way around to the 20th person. And then when the experiment is done, I'm going to go to the last person, right? And I'm going to ask them, what was the story? And the way that this experiment works is the disclaimer is, hey, look, folks, be as accurate as possible. And what they're doing, what he was doing was telling the first student, be as accurate as you hear me tell you the story, be as accurate as you possibly can. In fact, after I tell you the little story, I want you to repeat it back to me so that I know that you got the facts right. And of course, okay, yeah, I got it, Professor, I got it. So they did that. So just as an example, this is just an example, okay? So this is an example. This is not what happened, but this is not the story, but this is an example of a story. All right, so let's keep it simple. So there was a boy. His name was Jonathan, and Jonathan had a girlfriend, and her name was Anita. Jonathan and Anita, and they were both black kids, black boy and girl, black. All right, and they went up a hill to go get some water, come back down to wash their clothes. Simple story, right? You got it? Jonathan and Anita, both black children, black boy and girl, go up a hill to get some water to come back down and to wash their clothes. That was what the water was for. And so he tells the first student, the student tells, okay. By the time it got around 20 students, this is just an example, but you can do this on your own. Any teachers out there, or any guidance counselor, whatever, we're Boy Scout leaders, Girl Scout leaders, whatever, even sports, just because this helps with communication. By the time it got to the end, teacher goes over to the last student, 20th student, and says, so what you got? It was whoever, let's call it Peter and Joshua, and it was no longer a girl, it was two boys. They go down a hill, not up a hill. They go to get some gas for their broken down car. That's the story that the last student got. So when people refer to the Bible, that's what I think. It can be interpreted a gazillion ways. But in the scientific method, we don't have the luxury of twisting facts here and twisting facts there, because it goes through a method. And we all scientists, we know the method to come up. And that's how we're able to, when we call publishing, we're publishing our findings, and all of our peers have to read it, read the facts for what they are, then they do their own experiments. And then at that time, that's the only way it can finally be said, this is a fact. For instance, E equals mc t squared. M equals mc squared. Energy, mass, speed, speed of light, right? Okay? Einstein's formula. What's another one? You could pick a whole host of them. But the only way they were able to get those formulas to be used in all walks of life and science world was it had to go through a method to get to that point. All right, so now, I know that was a big overview. So the reason that I'm doing that is so that once we get through this silly season and we start talking about the system that's in place, then you know that what I'm saying is factual. I'm not just making this up. It's not because this is how I feel. It has nothing to do. It's not because I'm a black man. It has nothing to do with that. All I'm trying to do is, like everybody else, is trying to understand why the United States and why people here hate another group of people. Not all, we know this, but why is a certain group of people here, a small select of them, hate another group of people? And then saying that, then the group of people that small group represents is calling them white folk for who they are. Most of them, the ones that don't think that they don't hate outright, but they have biases because of the system. That's why I'm hoping that the collection of people that are on here that actually are following me, don't be offended. I'm only here to educate you. And then for everybody else, you'll start doing the head thing. Like, you'll be like, yeah, that's why that person act like that. Yeah, that's why my boss said that. Yeah, that's why that one of my friends said that to me. Oh yeah, that's why. Oh yeah, that's why when I turn on the TV, all I see is white people all the time. Oh yeah, that's why I feel so uncomfortable. Oh yeah, that's why people are looking at me like that. All of those questions will be answered. So I'll see you guys after the silly season is over, and then we can dive deeper into this. Okay? And in the meantime, I'll continue to make videos about politics, because I think a lot of people come here to hear my opinion on what's going on out here in the silly season. See you guys in another video. Take care of yourselves.